Hey guys, my name is Justin Guerra. I'm 21 years old and have built a multiple seven-figure company in wholesale real estate. And this video is basically going to go over on how I met a billionaire and what advice he gave me and how I'm going to go ahead and implement that into my company. Stay all the way to the end so I can give you a tip on an investment that they made that was one of the biggest regrets they ever did. Over the last weekend, I had gone to an event called Driven by Albert Persiato, an amazing event. And during that event, a lot of the speakers were multiple 9-figure, 10-figure earners. And it was really interesting, right? It was really interesting to just see the level of thought process at that point. And even them, it was all very different from each individual person, but they all had very similar perspectives towards life. And it was just very eye-opening to see how like their brains click and work, right? But as we went further on through the event, I ended up building a little bit of a communication with one of the billionaires. His name was Eric Castro, and on the last day there, I sat down with him for about 30 minutes, and just really got to pick his mind. And he gave me a lot of information that I want to just share with you guys, so you guys can implement them into your company and go ahead and drive yourselves to the level that you want to accomplish, right? So, just to give you some backstory on me, if you guys haven't been watching my vlogs, I've been able to rapidly scale my company. I'm one of the fastest scaling companies in wholesaling to current to date. And as we progress, we still get challenges inside of my company on a daily, consistent basis. But in the scaling wise, we've been very focused on revenue driving activities. So basically 90% of the conversation we were talking, and it wasn't really business driven, the conversation on my end was very business driven because that's what I wanted to, understand and learn. But on his end, being somebody that's accomplished so much in his life, it was very perspective driven. So what do I mean by that, right? So I came in and I said, Eric, these are the things that are happening in my company. I need to go ahead and drive up revenue more. I need to delegate more things, and I need to basically, what's the most effective way if you were in my shoes right now to do those things? He sat down and told me, if I was in your shoes right now, that you're on the right track, but find 100 people to do 1% instead of you doing 100%. And I was like, okay, that's very interesting. That's delegation, right? But he goes, Justin, 99.9% of people in life have the problem that they can't go hard enough to their goals. And your problem is you go too hard. And I was like, okay, there's a limit because you're a human. There is definitely a limit because you're a human, and it's so funny how life plays out, right? So like my mom and like everybody in my life always tells me, yo, just like slow down a little bit. And I'm like, I always go, well, you haven't accomplished the goals that I want to accomplish, so why would I listen to your advice on a goal that I need to accomplish? And it's not that I don't care for the advice because I love them, but it's because I'm so goal driven that I've only want to take advice from people that have accomplished that goal. We kept progressing the conversation. He's like, look, a lot of the things come down to mental stabilization. And I was like, okay. And basically what he meant by that is like staying stabilized and having a great balance inside of your life. But not just having a great balance, because it's very difficult to have a balance. Like my business and my life are integrated into one. But then as he spoke to me more, he said, Justin, you're on the right path. You're doing the right things. But stop and smell the roses every day. Stop, smell the roses, and then get back on the road. Stop, smell the roses, and get back on the road. And guys, like this entrepreneurship thing, it seems very glamorous, right? The Lamborghinis, the jets, the girls, the money, everything about it just seems so glamorous, right? But the reality is it's not very glamorous. It's kind of actually very like grimy, and like it takes a lot of work. So back to the story, right? So he sits down and he tells me, like stop, smell the roses, and really just focus on today. And this was the trait that I found in every single billionaire. They all focused on today. And they said, focus on today, but have today aligned with tomorrow. Live in the now. And I was like, okay, like, all right, so you read these books like The Power of Now and all these things, and just you really focus on the moment. But it's really insane the perspective that you get when you think about, okay, how can I implement that into my daily life? Because if you're a high performer, sometimes you don't know your gauge of when to stop. You just kind of keep going, day by day, and it's kind of like going to the gym, right? You keep putting weight on yourself. You keep putting weight on yourself, and you keep thinking, yo, I could push this weight, I could do these things, because at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of. And he said, no. Stay in today and align it with tomorrow. Make sure everything you're doing today aligns with tomorrow, but don't focus on tomorrow. Focus on making sure every moment that you have today is structured out and you take advantage of every moment. So tomorrow you can do the same exact thing. And the day after, and the day after, and the day after. And before you know it, you're going to hit your goals a lot more rapidly without burning yourself out. Yesterday, and it's really funny, I felt like I had to tell this story because yesterday, I had a lot of stress in my back, right? Massive amounts of stress. And I'm normally like good with dealing with stress. I've I would say like I could handle a lot. But yesterday was like a lot, like from every single department, and it kept happening back to back, like in a short period of time, maybe like 8-9 hours. And I was like, what is going on here? Like there was so much. I had to deal with maybe like 20-30 problems, but and solving them all very rapidly, and having my team help me, but just the way that I was getting ambushed with it. And it was just reminding me of like what this billionaire told me. And it was like, it's so hard to implement in the moment, but it's so important that you do. Because he was like, Justin, like I told him, I sat down with him, I'm like, my worry is that I'm gonna burn myself out to where like I probably won't be here by 40 if I keep working like this. And this is my truth, and this is what I want to share with you guys, because at the end of the day, it's so important that I can give you guys the lessons as I learn through this, because this is the point of this channel. The point of this channel is that you could learn from my current problems and my current situations, so you could jump over those things and have a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life. Right? So as I'm going through the day, I get on the phone at the end of the day, and I'm talking to one of my friends that's a very, very successful entrepreneur, and she's kind of giving me some advice from a problem that I had with a partner, and telling me about her attorney. And what she said was very intrusive to my mental space, but not in a bad way, because I had already figured out that problem. I had already solved it 3 or 4 days before that. But at that point, I had so much on my back that I was like, hey, I can't, I don't think I could take this anymore. And I kind of burned out at that point. I was like, wow, Eric was right. And it was crazy, because I started feeling like I couldn't breathe, and my heart started pounding really hard, and I felt like my blood rushing to my neck, and my eyes were like kind of bulging, and I was losing my vision. And I was like, well, I'm having a heart attack. I'm gonna have a heart attack and fucking die here. But I didn't, thank God. I rushed to the hospital, and they took my AQC or whatever, I forget what it's called, the blood pressure thing, but like with the little things all over your body, and they were like, you're good. It was a mix between an anxiety attack, high blood pressure, and being dehydrated, and that's everything that happened. So I was like, wow, okay. So let me come back into the business, and let me figure out what is the best way to strategize this, so I can take more off my plate and put it in other people's hands in the business, so I could focus on the things that I truly need to focus on. And we grow, like we're growing the business. Every month we probably bring on, every other month we probably bring on another employee, and just continuously grow. But it's very important that you guys stay focused on the thing that's in front of you right now, and stop driving away from that thing, because at the end of the day, that thing is the one that feeds you. And at the same time, make sure you have a balance. Don't be too excessive. You are human, and you'll run into these problems. Like, I shouldn't be feeling like this at 21 years old, to be honest. But once you have so much from so many different angles, you have to figure out how to separate it and how to delegate it correctly, and how to put trust in your team, so you can hit the level that you want to hit. And then we focused on today. right? So this man, he had built a $5 billion company. It's extremely impressive, and those are the goals that I personally want to hit. You know, I personally right now my company's probably gonna hit about 3 million this year, and I want to in revenue. So we could be clear. Um, I want to hit massive goals. I want to hit goals a lot bigger than 100 million and 500 million because I'm so passionate about it. And for me to hit that next level, I have to understand how to handle this level, how to handle 5 different departments, 20 employees overseas, 7 employees in office, a media team. I have to learn how to structure all these things out for me to really be able to handle the next level. And that's the biggest takeaway that I got from that. Thank you guys for staying till the end. So basically, this was one of the biggest lessons he taught me, which he was telling me about a really bad investment that he made, which kind of brought him to the point where I am now, where he was at high levels of stress, and he kind of clicked and started realizing that he has to change his perspective on life, or else he's gonna lose his shit. So, and this is what he told me. He said that he had his business that was already producing him multiple nine figures at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, let's start making some other investments." And he went in on real estate, and he went in at a pretty rough time in real estate, and he took a lot of his capital and put it towards multi-unit buildings, and he almost went bankrupt because of it. Long story short, a lot of mishaps happened. And he said before he ever if he could go back in time before he ever did that, he would want to focus on his main business and not let that go, because at the end of the day, he put his other business on the line to try to make something over here successful when this wasn't even at its full potential. And I was like, okay, that makes complete sense. So I need to come back and focus on my business and do everything I have to possibly do to hit that, while still maintaining a solid mental state, while still maintaining control inside the company, while still maintaining my health. It's a balance. Main takeaway: smell the roses, get back on the road. Smell the roses, get back on the road. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Justin Guerra. I'm really excited for you guys to go ahead and accomplish the things you go want to accomplish. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and a subscribe, or go ahead and follow me on Instagram. We have a lot of content on there consistently coming out, and it would be a great way for me to connect with you. If not, look at the YouTube videos. We have so many. You could go ahead and see how I started my 90 days to a million challenge. So that was pretty interesting. I learned a lot from that challenge. You can watch all those episodes there. We have the last episode dropping on Monday. Just check it out. It's going to be Cabo Part 2, and that's kind of where we're going to end that series. Now we're entering the Just Wholesale series. I love doing my stuff in series, so you guys can keep along with the team and just kind of learn what we're going through in every episode and every phase of our lives. So thank you so much for joining us for this episode. Shout out to you. Shout out for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.